Hello there, Ray here, and today we will be covering 3 different snapshots. We got 2 1.16 snapshots and we have a new combat snapshot testing. If you guys don't know what the combat testing snapshots are, they are a separate version of snapshots which are trying to make combat more exciting and enjoyable for all parts of the community. And they will be implemented into the game, so pay attention to these changes because they're eventually going to make it into the mainstream game. And they include a lot of new things, including new enchantments. But we'll get into that right after we talk about the current snapshot for 1.16.2. In the previous snapshot, they tried to fix some piston lag, which also ended up changing the appearance of pistons when they were extending. They'd be powered with different pulses. The piston would actually extend and show 2 piston heads instead of 1. And there was also problems that pistons were now creating ghost blocks in situations where they didn't before. Now, despite them trying to fix some issues to do with piston create excessive lag compared to past versions, you guys mentioned that you were still having issues with it. So hopefully they continue to address this problem. Now, if there's a lot of stuff in the chat, you can go ahead and remove that. It doesn't visually show up when you open up your chat by doing F3 plus D, but there was cases where if you would change your settings in your chat settings here, and if you would make very long chat delay, which essentially will wait 6 seconds between new messages. Those messages that are sitting there waiting to show up wouldn't be cleared and would end up still popping up after 6 seconds. This has now been fixed, so it will clear all messages. Now you can still access the messages you said before, even if they don't show up. You can open up the chat and press the up key, and then you can access everything you typed before. And this is very useful for keeping your chat clean while still being able to reuse what you type. They fixed 2 problems to do with wolves or dogs, them being too dark when they went into water, being almost completely black. You can see they were kind of darker, and then as soon as they shake off, they turn a lighter color. And there was also a rendering problem with them when they were in direct sunlight. Both of these have been fixed. You guys often ask how I put water in the nether dimension. This is done by using commands. Understands they had the tag marker1, which kind of prevents them from getting destroyed or falling and stuff like that. We're rendering themselves as well as their equipment too dark while they're inside a block. And you can see this has been fixed. They also fixed a problem with players updating their worlds and the position predicate was being spammed in the console. They also came out with 1.16.2 release candidate 1. This is the one that we're currently on. This is their new thing that they do before releasing the full release. So that means 1.16.2 will probably come out next week if they don't find any major bugs to do with the current version. Now in these candidates, they do come in and fix some bugs as well. They fix some cross-compatibility problems to do with walls. There was also a problem to do with the fog not working on servers in the end dimension as well as the nether. In this release candidate, they also fixed a few different crashes were occurring. One to do with how certain dimensions were causing the game to crash. One related to generating of new chunks. Another related to super flat worlds without a preset. And one to do with crashes with custom biomes, and also one to do with nether portals, getting an out-of-bounds exception. So it's great to see them fixing these very important bugs. And if you guys recognize any major bugs in the current snapshot, make sure to go ahead and report them, as well as tell me about them down in the comments. I really hope they fix the lag-related issues, especially the one with like the pistons and redstone. Besides the new 1.16.2 snapshots, we also got a new combat test snapshot. This is Minecraft combat test number 6. And it's also updated for the 1.16. If you guys don't know what the combat test snapshots are, it's a different set of snapshots than the normal ones. This one's been going on ever since essentially 1.9 where they changed combat and people were upset. And the goal is to try to make both sides happy, both the 1.8 combat people as well as the 1.9. So they're doing a lot of things to try to make combat more exciting. If you're not sure about all the new combat changes that they made in Snapshot, I did review videos on all the previous ones, which I'll link down below. Now they did do quite a few changes in this one, so I'm just going to go over the changes that they did from the previous version. Now the first thing they did is they removed coyote time, which was the thing that allowed players to kind of hit targets even if they weren't precisely aimed on them. Especially little things that move around very easily, people had a really hard time hitting that. What they did instead is they made really small targets, ones that are smaller than 1 block, such as like rabbits, bats, silverfish, are actually inflated for targeting purposes. I'm not sure what this quite means, but I'm guessing it means you could kind of aim a little bit off to the side and still hit them. And it seems that is kind of true. You can kind of aim outside of it and still hit them. Especially if you're on like a server where there's latency and stuff, it can be very difficult to hit these really small mobs. So keep that in mind. Once again, they added so that swords have the sweeping attacks already applied to them automatically, like they are in the regular game. They removed it for a little bit. Now they said that you can also have the sweeping effect added to axes with the sweeping enchantment, but so far it's not compatible. Now before, when you like attack, there was a cooldown before you could attack again with the same power But now if you happen to miss your target, like you aim over here and miss what you're trying to hit, the delay for it to recharge isn't going to be the full amount compared to if you were like spam hitting your target. There's only going to be 4 ticks worth of delay, so you can see it actually recharges really fast. Or if I hit this iron golem, you can see it takes a while to recharge. They also increase the reach to 3 blocks instead of 2.5 like it was previously. And remove the bonus reach for delayed attacks. So in the past one, you could sit there and kind of wait a little bit longer before attacking, and it allowed you to reach a little bit further. They also did some changes to the shields. Now shields only protect up to 5 damage from melee attacks and still 100% for projectiles. Go ahead and give it a try. You can see it doesn't negate all the damage from the iron golem. You can also see the little shield symbol on the right hand side of the hotbar. When the shield is up, you can see it is protecting you. And the shield also recovers faster after an attack. Now let's see if the shield symbol changes when it gets hit. Don't seem like it does. They also changed the chopping enchantment to cleaving for axes, and it still goes up to level 3. Another change they made to axe was removed other weapon enchantments from the enchanting table. They go on to say that the axe simply had too many possible enchantments. It also feels a little bit fitting with a rare cleaving enchantment than a common sharpness enchantment for the axe. So to get a very nice axe, you'd have to probably combine a bunch of books and an anvil and apply them. They also made some changes to bows as well as projectiles. Now player movement is added when throwing a projectile, but only in the direction you're aiming. Now this is something they flip-flopped over the years. You guys might remember in the past, you could like fall downwards and you could still like throw an ender pearl up and it would hit a target and you could get there. And then they removed it so that if you fall downwards and throw an ender pearl, the ender pearl kind of falls the same speed as you. And then they added it back again so you could ender pearl back up again. Let's go ahead and give it a try. It sounds like they might have changed it. Go ahead and fall and throw an ender pearl. It seems to work pretty good. Let's try it from a little bit higher up. Yeah, it seems like it goes up pretty much straight up. Let's try it with a snowball. Seems to work. The part that says, but it only applies to the direction they're aiming, doesn't mean they're going to take away from throwing opposite directions, but instead it allows you to actually throw ender pearls downwards much faster. Let's go ahead and give that a try. If I'm falling, I can just throw ender pearl and it should hit before I hit. Try this again from a little farther up. It seems like you're really high up, it doesn't really work. If that's true, the players should be able to get the momentum of them falling downwards, and then also have the ender pearl hit the ground for them. Let's try a trident, and moving forward, maybe if the player was launched from like a TNT cannon, then he threw his trident or pearl, it might go further than if the player just threw it from a standstill. Trident seems to kind of go faster going downwards. I think I hit the ground before I did. If you guys can tell any difference with this change, let me know in the comments. The other change that they did to bows and arrows is accuracy now slowly decreases the longer you pull the bow. Now this is pretty interesting because here's a little testing area for that. You put a bunch of targets out and shoot them. So your accuracy decreases the longer you hold your bow. And you can see how the bow is wobbling more up and down. Now before they had targets that were kind of far away. I think the zombies are farthest. Let's see how much of the bow. Oh my goodness. Did that really hit the creeper? That is horrible. Dude, I was like aiming over here and went way over to the creeper. Let's try that again and see how. Oh my, wow. Look how far off that is. Yeah, so you don't want to hold your bow too long. Otherwise, you can get extremely off-centered. That's actually pretty cool. You can't just sit there and like try to snipe a player when he comes around a corner or something just by holding your bow. I think these are also like these bells you're supposed to hit, and if you're like really good, you can hit these buttons too. There, hit the button. So yeah, this is a good practice map. If you guys want to get this map, I think they still have it linked on the post, which I'll link in the description. You definitely don't want to hold your arrows too long. The main changes to food and hunger, they reverted the eating time to 32 ticks. Eating now interrupts if something hits you, which is really interesting. So let's give this a try and try to eat. And this guy hits me, you see he keeps interrupting me, so I can't eat. It means that I also don't get the regen effect from the food. So this is a pretty big deal. You're going to have to rely on like potions and stuff like that, or get away from your enemy, or eat something that's fast, like a cake. Natural healing is even faster, being 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. So let's go ahead and damage myself, and you can see every 2 seconds it's going to heal half a heart. Natural healing drains food 50% slower. So I guess you just end up eating less food when your player is healing. And by popular request, they reintroduced the rule that sprinting requires more than 6 points of food. So I'm under 6, and you can see I can no longer sprint once again. I kind of like the old one where you could just constantly sprint without having to constantly eat. But they're making little tweaks to everything. They also did some other changes, like they removed the attack indicator completely since it's no longer used by the system. This is a thing where you like swing your sword too fast and they want you to kind of wait and let it charge up. But now you can still swing your sword. And what they replaced it with was the shield indicator, which you can see there now. And even here in the options, it's called a shield indicator now. They fixed the knockback calculations as well. This is a big thing in player versus player. They want to make sure that some players don't get advantage by taking advantage of like knockback and stuff. It also fixed the damage value on items by being off by one client side. This is when you like keep hitting something and the damage looks like your sword is about to break. Then if you click on it and place it back down again, the damage goes up by 1. This happened a lot to us when we were trying to get those 0 durability armor sets. And I'll link a video in the description if you're curious. It looks really funky. You also can do a client side duplication of items that way. And they fixed a bug that causes players to be unable to attack interact after respawning. It did do a nerf, which is a nerf of the sweeping edge enchantment from what it was, which was level 1 was 50%, level 2 was 66, level 3 was 75. Now it's down to 25, 33, and 37.5. So a lot of changes have been made just within the combat update itself. Like I said, if you guys aren't aware of this, this is going to come to the Minecraft game, so make sure you give your inputs on it. It's very important, especially if you're someone that does PvP or a lot of PvM. I don't really do that much of it, so I'm really depending on you guys to tell me what these changes mean. I'd love to hear that down in the comments. I'm actually pretty excited for these changes, especially ones that do with automation that we talked about in previous versions. And make sure to check out the full list of changes down in the description with those videos where I cover them. And as always, don't forget to share this video with your favorite Minecrafters so they can learn about the new changes coming out, as well as leave a like on the video. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!